financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is tax problems of the self-employed. So it's a little bit more narrow than usual. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here today.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Good morning. I feel kind of funky because I am self-employed.
Okay, then maybe you'll be the object of our discussion.
Yes.
Jim Simasco.
Happy to be here, Ken.
So you're self-employed.
Yes.
Does that mean you have to pay estimates quarterly?
Yes.
Okay, and
I have a good accountant, and I make certain that I work with them to make certain that we try to do it as much as possible.
so
yes.
you chime in a lot when it comes to these things. So here's I want to set the stage for the self-employed. Why it's not easy in some respects compared to people that are working as an employee. When you work as an employee and you receive wages, you get a W-2. You get withholding taken out of your check. Husband and wife both work for employees. They both have W-2s. They both have withholding. Their tax return is a relatively simple process, and their money's been paid in unless they played games and under withheld, so that when it's tax time at the end of the year, oftentimes they get a refund, or they have a very nominal amount of tax owed.
Don't gloss over that play games and under withheld problem, because
we'll
that is a huge problem for
problem.
both the self-employed and the
The self-employed
and the employee.
The self-employed have a different problem. The self-employed don't have withholding. They have an obligation to pay estimates quarterly based upon two factors. What their income was the previous year. You have to pay estimates based, I think, upon 90% of what your taxable income was the previous year. And
or you're subject to a penalty.
And your accountant will give you a indication at the year end what your next year's estimate should be. But that doesn't cover you completely, because if the previous year was an average year and the current year is a great year, if you don't pay in more in your estimates, then when your tax return gets prepared and is due somewhere between April, or if it goes on extension in October, all of a sudden you could have a big fat tax bill then. And
With penalty and interest.
and if you haven't paid in as of April 15th, for sure. If you met the 90%, you'd be okay on the estimates. But the big problem that often happens for the self-employed is the following year is not as good as the previous year. And let's say, I mean, Jeff, you're an attorney. Your income's probably relatively stable from year to year, I'm guessing. But how about the life insurance? How about the insurance agent, the real estate guy? Those guys, their income can fluctuate dramatically depending upon economic conditions.
I mean, look at the real estate market when interest rates went from 2.5% to 3% to up to 7-8%. There was a complete almost collapse of the real estate industry.
You sell $500 million worth of real estate in 1 year, and you sell $30 million the next year.
Yeah.
Or you change it. Or you sell, same thing with insurance.
We get that in law, though, too. So you can have years where you get lucky, where you have a couple of cases that unexpectedly are worth much more than you anticipate, or referrals. And then the other years you have some times where you get caught where there's changes in the law. I've experienced that both with workers' compensation and Social Security, where either laws change, where cases become significantly less valued, or laws change and they become more valuable.
So where the problem arises for the self-employed in that situation, not everyone, but it becomes if you make the mistake of just spending the money that's in your bank account, and you're not worried about making sure that you have reserved or paid in enough to cover your taxes, you can go through a period where all of a sudden you find out very quickly you owe a bunch of money from the previous year. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your money from the new year to cover the taxes from the previous year. But then you won't have anything paid in for the new year, that when you get to the next year, now you're running behind. And if that happens in a 2-year cycle, then all of a sudden you owe for 2 years, and it becomes a big problem for people.
It's worse than that, because as people start to earn, so you have a great year. So what happens is you expand your own expenses, your living, you live better.
Time to do the improvement to the house.
Yep.
And I'm going to pay cash for it. I'm not going to borrow.
Right. And what happens is that people start to live beyond their actual normal means, and they live up to the expectation of what they made the
Every year
previous
is going to be a good year.
And when your income goes like this, then suddenly it's very difficult for people to go, oh, I got to pull the reins back because I have to pay the taxes. You're right, I'll pay the taxes with next year's income because I really enjoy going to Aruba three times a year.
So the problem is you don't pull the reins back. Instead, you're up here, and all of a sudden you go.
So what I find
and
interesting,
crash.
whether it be me or most people who are self-employed, is not being in a business where the income is consistent. If you work for an employer, you've got a salary, that's easy, that's consistent, but you're getting taxes paid.
The employer's income may not be consistent, but yours is.
Right, typically when you're working for yourself, you're in industries or whatever where there is no guarantee as to what your number is going to be. So there's always going to be fluctuation.
You know, you have to be disciplined enough that for every dollar you bring in, you have to set aside 30, 40 cents
for
to pay
taxes
the
between the
taxes.
federal and the state.
And then-
don't forget about your real estate taxes and everything else if it's not being
Unemployment.
deducted from your mortgage.
And you got to
Medicare.
be setting aside money for yourself for your future ebbs and flows. The best example I can give you that is every human being that works in landscaping, their income is zero through March, April,
Yep.
and then it goes like this, and then in November back to April again, it's zero. And you have to
Average
spread
it
that
out
money
over
out
12
over
years,
12
other 12
months,
months.
but they don't.
Take a break and we'll explore why they don't.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Okay, Lisa, we have one last question for you. How old should your grandkids be before they can take the money and spend it on their own?
Thanks, Grandma. Thanks, and I'm getting mine next week.
35.
You've worked hard your whole life to create a lasting legacy for your heirs. Let Samasco Law help you make the right decisions to protect the ones you love. Samasco Law, protecting what means most, because that's what we do.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so why does the problem happen then? It goes back to what Jim is saying, discipline, but it's real easy to explain. We see it every single day. I can feel it if I would have been in that boat. It's simple to put the money away, save for retirement, meet the 3-point retirement plan, pay your taxes on time. As long as you have enough income coming in on a regular basis into that box that you can take out the money you need for raising your family, going on your vacations, living the life the way you want to, as long as you have all that money available to yourself and left in the box is enough for your retirement, for your taxes, and everything else, it's easy. Make $4 million a year, shouldn't be a problem. Make $450,000 a year, average couple, shouldn't be a problem. The problem comes up when you're in that range of somewhere between $90,000 and $300,000, and you got 2-3 kids, you got college, you got kids that want to take dance lessons, hockey lessons, they want to do the travel baseball team, all those things. It becomes a problem. I understand it. We all understand it.
It's called
It's real easy to sit there saying
keeping up with the Joneses.
And also,
everybody wants
it's called
to-
keeping up with the Joneses. It's called having a nice life. It's giving your kids the things that you want them to experience that you didn't. Somewhere there needs to be the ogre.
Thank you for looking at me.
You can look at me too.
The ogre that says you can't afford to do those things. And you need the ogre inside of yourself.
Well, and again,
But I'm sitting there saying, that's not easy.
It's not. But
I recognize
there
it.
are tools and techniques out there that will help you get a steady, become steady Eddie, so to speak. You've got to have budget management skills. Okay, you've got to recognize that when you're self-employed, the first 35 to 40 cents on the dollar really doesn't belong to you, and when you start spending it, you're borrowing from the one collector that will chase you down for the rest of your existence, and that's your uncle. You can borrow from your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, but you shouldn't borrow from your Uncle Sam.
See, I just had a meeting this week with a client. He's been a long-term client. He's been that classic example of what we're saying, and over the years, he's made a lot of money. But he lives super big. So we've had the problem over many years of tax problems, dealing with IRS, doing all sorts of things that we can do to keep things going the right way, working the whole system with collection due process hearings, working a million systems to keep him afloat through the hard times. And we've done a great job of it because this has been a 30-year run. And what we were laughing about, because we're still doing it right now, is we were talking about the history, and we were saying is, I said to him, you are not alone. I've had other clients the same way. You've chosen to ride the waves. But the thing about you, I said to him, is you've always been good about dealing with the stress and the pressure of them. Because this meeting started out, and the answer was, how you feeling? I'm tired. So he's saying, after all these years, I'm not feeling successful. I'm not feeling good about myself. I said to him, that's just because we're down here. I said, you've always toughed it out, and you've always come out ahead, and we're going to do it again. But I said to him, you're the kind of guy that can deal with it. I said, if you can't deal with it, you can't let yourself get into that situation. It'll eat you alive.
But that is a very important point. He's tired. He's older. He's not 40.
It's harder when you get older.
There's a point that you reach where you either A, can't handle the stress anymore, B, can't do the work anymore. So at what point do you go from, oh, well, I'm always managing to scrape myself out of it, to, oh my God, I only get to collect my Social Security and I didn't bother to put any money away?
There's an in-between, like in this circumstance. Okay, we still have a big business that we have. It's time to sell the business, cash out the chips, pay off the tax liability, get it behind you, and then skate.
And too many people wait too long to sell it, because if you have to sell it when you're under the gun,
that's
or
not
in
the right
distress,
time.
That's the worst time to do
you know,
it. Absolutely.
then you get the lowest price.
Yeah. So I mean, the point is, it's a difficult scenario, but if you're the type of person that wants to not live with anxiety, who wants to be able to sleep without worrying about knocks at the door, you don't want to allow yourself to get into this. You want to manage and have the discipline that we're talking about. If you're the high roller that can handle the stress, we have ways of dealing with it. There are remedies in each situation, but the better outcome, if you want a calm life, is to have an ogre that disciplines you the right way, that you learn to live within your means. And I'm joking, but live within your means.
Play by the rules.
Play by the rules.
That's
and it becomes a much more peaceful
But it's
existence.
so
But it's
easy.
still hard.
It's so
You've
easy
got that
to
overhead
skip the
with
rules.
kids.
It's so easy to go, you know, I really need to get a new car. I'll pay the taxes next quarter.
And I'm not going to bother filing my return either, because if I don't file my return,
We'll never know.
they won't know about it. That's the next.
That's a classic
That's the
problem.
biggest problem that comes up.
Plus, you don't pay your credit card, they're calling you the next day.
Oh, gotta pay the credit cards.
IRS lets you slate.
Not only are they
slide for
calling
6
you the
months.
next day, but if you don't pay your credit cards, you can't use your credit cards. And if you can't use your credit cards, what am I going to pay for anything with?
You're
I
going
don't
to
have any
borrow
money.
more money from your uncle, which is a
And that
circular trip straight to hell. I hate to say it.
Or the toilet could do it.
It's a bad scenario. The unfiled tax returns is one big problem that happens, and then that problem comes up with, how do you solve that problem? Take a break. We'll come back.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
For almost 60 years, Samasco Law has been the trusted source for helping families navigate the uncertain world of estate planning and elder law. And now, our firm is growing even stronger with the addition of attorneys Joe Frazard and Kelsey Samasco. 2 more lawyers to make sure your family is protected now and into the future. Call Samasco Law today for a free consultation. Our hardworking team is standing by to provide you peace of mind. Samasco Law. Protect what matters.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon Building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So, Jack, he's behind on his taxes, hasn't paid his estimates, and all of a sudden the next year comes, he says, you know what, I haven't, my accountant hasn't done the accounting, I just won't file the return, they won't know about it.
Oh, okay.
Well, right away, you don't file your return on time, you've now increased your tax by 25%, because it's a 5% penalty, 5% per month, and if you miss it by October, you're not going to solve it the next month. And then the next year comes, and the next year comes, and now you're 3-4 years behind.
Well, don't forget, it's not just a 25% penalty for unfiled returns. It's a 25% penalty for unpaid tax
at a half a point per year.
Wait,
at a half a percentage per month.
Plus, it's criminal.
I was going to say, not
Yes.
just the financial, it's criminal. Not paying your taxes isn't criminal. You're facing all these debt problems.
Yeah,
Don't file your taxes.
I will
That is criminal.
I will point out, when they prosecute you and they put you in Leavenworth, at least you get 3 square meals a day, and you have a bed to sleep on.
Yeah, but you got Bubba's.
You talk about being self-employed. A self-employed person works 24 hours a day. Even when you're not working, you're thinking about working. So it is not for everyone.
Absolutely. So you get into this problem, you haven't filed the returns. And now it's a real sleep deprivation situation because you're laying in bed, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and these thoughts are circling through you that says you haven't filed returns in 4 years. What's going to happen? And you know what? You haven't even told your wife doesn't even know, even though she's supposed to be signing the returns. She's oblivious. And it's an anxiety thing. How do you solve that problem?
Well,
this is what people don't realize. This is the easiest problem of all tax problems, of all financial problems to solve.
Wait, let me guess. File the returns.
Absolutely.
What a shock.
But what the person says is, I don't even have the records, I don't have the money. The answer is, you estimate as far as your expenses go, and we can just pull transcripts from the government and get all your 1099s and any W-2s and any reported income that the government knows about. They already have that information. We can get it and do the returns. Your accountant does the returns. They're filed. Now you owe money.
And your bank account. Go look at your bank account. That's the best way to look at what money comes in.
Yeah, so you owe money. Okay, so what are your solutions?
And now we solve that problem.
You've got so many different opportunities to fix that tax problem, starting with just getting into an installment payment agreement with the Internal Revenue Service or the state of Michigan if you have tax liabilities. That's the simplest one. If that one doesn't work, we can look at offer and compromise.
Or maybe there's better solutions.
Maybe there is. Right. Offer and compromise, where you can pay as little as $100 against a $1 million liability. right? It all depends on your situation at the time. Bankruptcy is an option with regard to getting
you
rid of
need
your
those
income
returns
tax debt.
to have been filed.
Well, yeah, there's a rule. For your income taxes to be dischargeable, the base rule is they had to have been filed for at least 3 years. I mean, they had to have come due at least 3 years ago. They had to have been filed for at least 2 years, and you couldn't have been assessed in the last 240 days. But most people, we can fix that problem, and we can sit on them for a while. We can also get you currently not collectible status with the IRS, where you don't have to actually pay anything. But the first place is fix the underlying root problem. File the tax return.
But obviously, if there's a problem, what you need to do is you need to admit to yourself you have the problem and call someone, such as you guys, that have the solutions.
That client comes in, the first thing we say to him is, all right, we got to get the returns filed. Do you have an accountant to do them? No, then we give you the name of someone to have them done. That's simple. And the thing that every single client says is the first good night's sleep they have is the day after, that night after coming in a meeting, when all of a sudden they're told by someone who's experienced, that knows the problem and knows how to solve it, this is not that impossible of a situation. We'll solve the problem.
I
we have a solution.
Walking
Because
every single client
you don't
out.
think you have a solution when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you start sweating about the knock on the door.
At the beginning of the process, when a client comes in and we're walking them out after that first meeting, they all say, I feel so much better. I know we've got a road to go down, but I feel relief. I know that the problem's going to be resolved. And I'll tell you something, the stress associated with whether it's income tax debt or credit card debt or even student loan debt that's out there is tremendous, and it is really harming America's psyche. And you really have an opportunity to get yourself on the straight and narrow and fix the problem and give yourself the relief that you're entitled to.
I look at this like your health. If there's something wrong with you, if you have a growth on your skin, you run down to the doctor and take care of it. If you have a tax issue or a debt issue, take care of it. Avoiding it or ignoring it is the worst thing you can do.
I always look at it this way. Everything to me, when I get anxious, is because I feel ill at ease about what my next steps are in the future. For that reason, I'm a perpetual to-do list person. Basically, I have a to-do list that starts on the weekend for the week, and then it's updated at the end of every day. So I have a target goal tomorrow of what I got to get accomplished, and then when I don't get it all accomplished, I add the things up and reorganize it for the next day. So I have a plan. The whole point is, you need to, if you have a plan and you know where your future is, then you're relaxed and you execute. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.